Well, good morning, peeps. Today we're going on a ride from Riverstone up to Richmond. I just happen to live in Riverstone, and Richmond is about 20 k's, and we'll be going through Windsor, which is a beautiful town, sort of like old school towns, both of them, Richmond and Windsor. I really has that appeal for me because it reminds me of when I was a kid. There's a street called George Street in Windsor, and it looks like something out of the 60s that hasn't changed. I really love going there. A lot of nostalgia, I guess. Unfortunately, some of the ride is on the road, can't be avoided, especially in Riverstone. There's no bicycle infrastructure really. It's completely neglected. And looks like we got this massive hill first up, and there's a large hill going down. There's a lot of tradies in this area, so it's Saturday morning around 7:40, and yeah, a lot of my neighbours are tradies, and sometimes they're not always the most, let's just say, accommodating to bike riders. That's actually why I put the camera on my helmet, because when people know that you might be filming them, they act a lot differently, a lot better actually. So the camera on my helmet is broken. It's not working, the battery won't charge. But of course I've got this camera that I'm using, that you're seeing the same view. So even just having the camera on the helmet that's not working, it still stops people from being too aggressive, most of the time, not always. Bit of a sad state of affairs really. It's not like in Europe where you can ride bikes. Countries like Holland, Germany, and everyone rides, and people are a lot more tolerant. Now, the ride we're doing today, part of it is what I used to do 3 times a week when we had the COVID lockdowns, but we could only go 5 kilometers from our house. So I did this route where I ended up doing 40-50 k's, but all within that 5k space. A lot of it was on the road, but at that time it didn't matter much because the only good thing about COVID is there weren't many cars on the road. So I got to come up this hill when I'm coming back, which is not much fun at the end of the ride. So this suburb, Riverstone, as you can see, there's lots and lots of new houses going up. Since I've been here 12 years, it's completely changed. It's a real sleepy old suburb. more like a little country town, I guess. It's about 40 k's from Sydney, and I like it. But yeah, with more development, don't like it as much, I have to say. Builders over on the left, working here. Oh, magpie. I hope it's not, its mother's not around. Scares the crap out of me. I've been attacked quite a few times. It's a very unpleasant experience. And I haven't got my spikes on my helmet, which helps to ward them off, because it's supposed to be the end of magpie season, so hopefully. So now this is the main road. Windsor Road goes all the way into Parramatta from Windsor, but there is this bike path on the left, which is great, so makes it a lot safer. So we're riding first up to Windsor, it's about 10 k's, and then from there to Richmond, it's about another 8 or something. So new estates going in everywhere. I actually haven't done this ride for quite a long time. It used to be my regular ride years ago. Bit rough and raggedy here because of the development. Oh, another magpie. Okay. Well, don't need to put any petrol on this baby. It's all manpower. And that's what makes you feel good, doing exercise. It's so important. This is like my therapy every week. Get on the bike, enjoy the outdoors, do some exercise. It really does help. I mean, there's lots of clinical studies and anecdotal evidence as well that exercise is good for mental health. I remember years ago, probably about 6 years ago, when I took up riding again, when I started doing short rides. Of course, your fitness is way down, so it takes a while to build up. And then I did a ride through here up to almost Windsor or something, and I thought it was an amazing achievement. But then as your fitness level grows, I used to ride at least 50 kilometres every Saturday, but now I've cut it down a bit. I want more of a relaxed, enjoyable, chill ride. I'm still getting the exercise, not overdoing it. I do my strength training during the week, so today I haven't got my riding partner Manu. He's unable to come, and he's been riding, I think, 2 or 3 years. sometimes on this ride you see eagles. In this area there are eagles, not sure what type, but because there's a lot of bush around as well, you get some wildlife and you get some eagles, different types of birds. It's quite nice. Freedom petrol, Freedom gas. So if you fill up your car or your bike, gives you freedom. Yeah, funny names, huh? I guess just riding the bike feels a bit like freedom. Hey, horsies on the left there. Must be a horse stud. We'll be going through quite a few farms today. Also, I'll see how we go. We might go around the raft base, but I think filming is restricted there, so probably not. It's a nice ride, though. I mean, I usually don't do this trip often because, you know, a lot of the way just riding next to a main road, which is not the best. So normally what I do is jump on a train at Riverstone, go down to Westmead, and then straight away riding through Parramatta Park and down through the river. And there's so many different ways you can go from there. And you can check them out on my other 360 rides. Plus there's plenty of lights here, so you gotta wait. Sort of cuts the ride a bit. That's okay. Tradies going and getting their early morning work done. Well, in the week they can work and make noise from 7 a.m. in the morning to 6 at night. So for example, we're getting a house built across the road. Luckily we wake up early, but if not, they can be making a big racket at 7 a.m. right up to 6 at night. And on Saturday, 7 a.m. till I think it's 2, possibly 4. And then Sunday, they're not supposed to make noise. But if you want to mow your lawn or something on Sunday, I think you have to do it after 10 a.m. You know, people sleeping in from a big night on Saturday, I guess. And if you're a shift worker and you live across or next to a building site and you work all night, it wouldn't be much fun. Get some good earplugs, I guess. But even so, I think the most annoying noise is when those graders and tractors, when they're reversing, you have that beep, beep, beep constantly. That for me is the hardest thing to be able to sleep. Morning. I forget people with earbuds, they usually don't hear you. You gotta take more care. Farm fresh eggs. We used to have chickens. My daughter had chickens, and she got some chicks, you know, from babies. I think there were like 4 or 5. I think 2 of them ended up being roosters, so we had to get rid of them to a farm, because you can't have it in a built-up area. Roosters crowing in the morning. So she had 2 or 3 left, and morning, and one of those, lived to about, could be like 9 years. She used to call her baby. Came like a family pet. They really have personalities, and used to hang around with the dog and the cat and us. But she got 2 from that same farm we just went past that were already grown, and to be honest, they were all in a massive cage, and they plucked them out by their neck. I was pretty horrified, to be honest. And they just weren't the same, those chickens. You know, they weren't like pets. Morning. And then I was walking home one day, and across the road I saw this chicken, like a really fancy black and white chicken. I forget the type of it was, and there's 2 big dogs trying to get it. It was in this hedge, so I actually somehow managed to grab it. I grabbed it by the tail, took it home, put it in the pen, and yeah, it lived for a lot of years. But when my daughter got a rabbit, we had this big sort of like netting fence made out of this strong plastic material, and that kept the chickens in, you know, a nice big area. But then the rabbit decided he'd like to chew on that, and so started chewing and making holes everywhere. So of course the chickens were outside all the time. Every morning I come out, the veranda was full of chicken poo. It was my task every morning to be hosing down this chicken poo on the veranda. So when the last one died, because it was baby, I was pretty sad, but at the same time it made my life a bit easier. But the fact that I eat a lot of eggs, our family does, who knows, maybe we'll get some more chickens in the future with a better cage. Well, I mean, we haven't got a rabbit anymore, unfortunately. That was another family pet, and my daughter's dog got out and unfortunately killed it. It was really horrible. It was this big rabbit, really friendly. Yeah, so it was a bit traumatic for my daughter who saw it. I was really sad actually, because I used to look after it quite a bit. Yeah, you can get attached to all different types of pets, you know. Okay, we got the cricket boys here on the left. So I think I heard last night Australia beat, who was it? Oh, South Africa, yeah, in the semi-final of the Cricket World Cup. So must have a good team. But I've heard that India are a really, really hot team. It's going to be a difficult task. There's a lot of Indians in Australia, aren't there? A lot of them support both teams. That'd be funny. Who would you go for? I guess both. You'd be happy and sad either way. Morning. More serious rider there on the right. The road guys. Looks like it slipped down a bit. couple of years ago there were some really bad floods, and I remember riding up here, and an area that I'll show you later, it was just like an ocean. It was amazing. The whole town of Windsor was cut off, also Richmond as well. So it is a very flood prone area. Nice little bushy part. You can sometimes get snakes on paths. It's happened to me a couple of times. I remember once I was actually driving a combi van when I was young up near Cairns. There was a snake in the middle of the road, and it was like up as high as like the window of the van that I'm looking out of, so at least a meter up in the air. I think unfortunately I kept going because it freaked me out, so I don't know if it survived. But if you're on a bike and that happens, yeah, that's even more scary, obviously. Oh my God, everyone having breakfast at Macca's today. What's this guy doing? Hasn't given us much room. Ah, down in the hole. Maxi Shine car wash. Tell you what, my bike needs a wash. I've been pretty lazy lately. I haven't washed it for about a month. I need to probably do it this afternoon when I get back. Especially if it's been raining, it gets real dirty. Not that far to go to Windsor. Windsor Garden Centre. It's like it's burnt down. Wow. That's not good. Am I right there? Kennard's Hire. You want to hire a tractor? Lots of cool machines there. I think it'd be fun operating those things. Windsor High School on the left. Got some pretty decent sized ovals. Space. Guess the further out of Sydney you are, you know, even though land is definitely not cheap anywhere, certainly cheaper than say in the city or somewhere, or closer to the city, you wouldn't have this sort of huge grounds in any city high school, or even inner city, unless it's one of those really high-end private schools possibly. But even that, the value of land is so high that, you know, it's unlikely. I always find it funny, people coming out the petrol stations, they don't realise there's a bike path, so you've got to really watch it. Like, I can understand, like, you wouldn't know. Okay, so we're about roughly 1 kilometre from Windsor, so we're going to go down a hill here and along next to like a sort of floodland area, the area I was talking about before. So 2 years ago when the floods were on, I rode up this way and basically I could not get any further than here. So we look down where you're looking now at the front there, you can see a little bit of the road here, and then covered completely by water, like an ocean. It was such a huge flood. And you know, people in Windsor and Richmond, a lot of them were cut off for I think up to a week. So all of this was underwater. There we are. Welcome to historic Windsor, a Macquarie town. Yep, historic town. I think the water in the fields on the left, I think it's like a repurposed sewage or something, where they, you know, have filtration, clean it up. But obviously they're not going to be growing crops there. It's interesting how they got the sprinklers on, but maybe they are growing something there. Looks like it's actually been cut recently. Yeah, looks like, I think that's grass. Not sure. Premises utilise something refuse. Oh, I have to read the next sign. Some riders on the right. By this time, a lot of the more serious riders, road riders, you know, they're finishing up their rides because a lot of them start like 5 in the morning, 5:30, might ride for 3 hours. You know, 8:30 they're over, having their coffee, chatting with their mates. It's all part of it. Okay, there's another sign coming up here. What's it say? Here it says recycled effluent. Yeah. No, I don't think I'll be drinking or eating anything from there. Okay, so getting close to Windsor now. We're going to go through the mall and then it'll be off up to Richmond.